The following video is one in a series on spiritual resilience training, a non-religious view of personal values and their dynamics with others. The contents reflect a variety of principles and practices of systems theory and relational counseling for team building and family resilience. Although the series is intended to support Army Corps values, each video also encourages the viewer to reflect on their current prominent values in specific situations and to consider what values may be more appropriate to means and results that are honorable and helpful with others. Chaplain Dillard initiates creating and posting these videos. Their contents and YouTube's linked videos do not necessarily reflect specific beliefs, practices, requirements, or endorsements of the Department of Defense, its subordinate organizations, or other groups with which Chaplain Dillard is affiliated. Welcome back. If you've been following this series on spiritual resilience training, you know that I'm focusing on values, what we deem as inherently good or effective or even enjoyable. And one of the greatest things that you can value is the relationships in your life, your family, your coworkers, friends, neighbors. So I want to spend some time over the next several weeks, intermittently, not all in sequence, so we can intersperse some other subjects, but to talk about peer counseling, how you can be helpful to somebody who turns to you for advice, encouragement, or just to be a sounding board to mitigate some of the anxiety or frustration or confusion inside of them. One of the first things that you need to do is to be able to assess how bad or how intense is their concern, and are there concerns that really indicate you should refer them to somebody else, or that you need to take action now, and in what ways you need to take action. Let me offer you a diagram that can outline this for you, and hopefully it's fairly simple. If you can remember ABC, this is a very simple way to assess somebody in at least two different ways. Extremes of acting out or extremes of shutting down. Both are signs of dysfunction that they're not able to carry on, whether that's short-term dysfunction or long-term. So you want to look for extremes. And the other thing you want to look for is disconnects. If they're low in one thing and high in something else, well, what is the something else? What is ABC? Affect, which is about emotions that you can see usually in their face and extremities, and I'll cover that in a minute. Behavior, what they're doing in the moment that you're observing them or talking to them, and their comments. Now, ideally, you need to know a person's baseline, because somebody who's very extroverted is usually going to be a little more out here. Somebody who's very introverted is going to be a little more on this left side. And if you know their baseline, then if you see that they're way over here, it doesn't alarm you. That's normally the way they are. But if they've gone from being here in terms of extroversion, somebody who is very animated in their affect, they're very assertive with their gestures and their behaviors, they have a lot to say. If they're usually right here and then they move even more to the right or significantly to the left, that's an area of concern because it's changed from their baseline. Same thing as an introvert. You need to know their baseline if at all possible. So one of the things that you need to look for is extreme movement from the baseline, either to the left or the right. And you see that in their affect, their behavior, and their comments. Now, when you look for affect, meaning their emotion, particularly watch the eyes, because it's very true, the eyes are the windows to the soul, the mouth, and the extremities, fingers and toes. A couple of reasons for that. Their autonomic responses, meaning that it's so fast from the heart and the brain, or the soul and the brain, or however you want to say it, to the small motor movements of the eyes and mouth and the extremities. They don't have time to think about it. They'll squint in anger, their eyes get big in fear, there'll be a slight pout of sadness or mourning. Same thing with the fingers, if there's a tensing or if there's a numbness. And basically you're looking to see, are they extreme in an extroverted sense or in a more introverted sense. Affect, you're looking at mad and glad here are much more expressive. Someone who feels sad or bad is shutting down more. Now, we don't know why yet, but what's important to know is how extreme is it, and then to begin to compare it to what they're doing and saying. In behavior, you're looking for someone who is going to be attacking or embracing. And an attack can be a good thing. You want to attack a problem. You want to attack injustice. Doesn't have to be a physical attack. Doesn't have to be certainly an illegal or immoral attack. But somebody who is taking action against what they perceive to be the problem. Now, is it really a problem? Are they attacking in a good way? Either way, mad and glad, respectively, should result in attacking and embracing. Over here, it would result in pausing or avoiding. To pause because the sense of sadness is that something of value has been lost. And so to proceed forward just doesn't seem right. There's a pause because whatever they've lost or they believe they're losing is behind them, and it doesn't feel right to move forward in their plans for the day or even their life. So the pause is an appropriate response to sadness. Avoiding is an appropriate response to feeling bad. And by bad, I mean feeling fearful or feeling guilty. So you begin to see that these line up, and you want to see how extreme are they, and is there a disconnect? Do they look like they're feeling mad, but yet they're being evasive or they're avoiding? That's a disconnect, because anger is a cue to take action to attack a problem. So there's a disconnect. That would be an area of concern. In comments, their comments should reflect these, not just what they're doing, but they are stating, I've got a problem, I need to attack it. This is really a good thing and I want to embrace it. Not necessarily a physical embrace, but I want to pursue this blessing, this benefit. Or I'm feeling really sad, I'm not sure what to do with it. This doesn't feel right to keep going. I've lost something. I'm afraid I should avoid it. They need to be saying these things. If they're saying something different than their affect and their behavior indicates, there's a disconnect. If the extreme of how much they have an affect to the positive or the negative side disconnects with what they're doing or what they're saying, that is an area of concern as well. So, ABC, affect, behavior, and comments. How extreme is it compared to their baseline, and are there disconnects in what they're feeling, doing, and saying? If you see extremes compared to the baseline or disconnects, I would recommend one of two things. If they're a good friend of yours and they trust you, listen to them. Don't talk as much, but listen. Stay engaged. Stay in the relationship. When I say stay in the relationship, stay in the moment and spend time with them. Help them walk through it. If it's a little outside your lane because of the intensity or the subject of the problem or the great disparity and the disconnect, then you need to refer them to somebody who has a subject matter expertise in that area. And I would recommend that you walk with them. If they're very, very off the charts here or here, I'd recommend that you drive them. Go with them. Don't send them alone. If it looks like an emergency situation, always consider getting a professional involved quickly, whether that would mean dialing 911, going to a supervisor, going to a very good friend. If at all possible, do everything with their permission. Now, safety trumps everything. If they are not safe, don't wait for their permission. But if safety is not an issue, get their permission first, get their recommendation first, because they're much more likely to follow up on the plan if they've had a voice in it, and if they know that you're showing respect and care for them. Hope that's helpful. We'll cover more later. At the release date of this video, I am stationed with Research, Development, and Engineering Command, RDECOM, at Aberdeen Proving Ground, Maryland. Because the majority of our personnel are in this area, I spend most of my time here. I do, however, travel to our distant units based on command priorities and budget. I place these videos on YouTube for broad visibility to Army personnel and their families, but I hope the videos will be helpful to others too. If you are assigned to RDECOM and want to request specific topics by video, training on site or by VTC, or confidential counseling on site or by secure webcam, you can contact me at jeffrey.d.dillard.mil@mail.mil.